This slide basically shows, the industrialization in Maharashtra and the importance of industry in Maharashtra's economy. I will just briefly touch, in less than a minute, what it is. Maharashtra's GDP is 480 billion. It is largest in the country. In foreign direct investments, also Maharashtra ranks as the largest, and it is leader in manufacturing. Then in exports, also Maharashtra has a land share. It has got the best quality workforce. It has got a huge consumer market because of its population size and Mumbai being the financial capital of the country. Coming to academic and research atmosphere, it has got some of the best colleges in the country. And coming to infrastructure, we have taken up very major programs like Samruddhi Corridor. Apart from the infrastructure that has been existing so far, now Maharashtra government is building a 700-kilometer express highway, which is 100 more than 100-meter wide, and there's 700-kilometer long, connecting Mumbai to Nagpur. This is going to become a very big growth engine. Sometime next year, it is going to be launched. Now, coming to the plug-and-play infrastructure, some of the relevant elements that I would briefly touch upon in this slide, and then I'll go to the specifics of plug-and-play infrastructure of Maharashtra. As Mr. Radha has pointed out, Mahaparvana is one thing which we have already launched. Mahaparvana is automatic or accelerated permissions or clearances. In our single window system, as soon as an investor makes an application, within 48 hours, we give them a sort of comfort letter to start their pre-establishment and pre-operational activities. That is called Mahaparvana, wherein about 19 clearances or permissions which are required for pre-establishment, pre-operational are given in one go. And there is a maximum time limit of 30 days. And most of the approvals or clearances are to be issued in less than 15 days. And if time limit is crossed, there is a provision for deemed approval. The state government has given a clearance for this deemed approval provision. So this is strictly time bound, and the investors with investment of more than 50 crore rupees are entitled for Mahaparvana. Then another initiative which we have taken is Mahajobs, wherein this acts as a bridge between the industry and the skilled manpower. The industry will find it as a sort of very easy way to identify the talented manpower that they would require. And in case of any shortfall in the skills requirement, we have got a program to take up skill development activities by connecting to the relevant departments. And then another thing which we have taken is Investor First program, wherein relationship managers are being appointed for investments worth more than 50 crore. Of course, I'm not suggesting that we are ignoring investments less than 50 crore. We have got a special kind of scheme for them also. So these are our concept of plug-and-play model. It is based on providing whatever is required for an industry to start their manufacturing activity immediately. So in that, the basic components are 7: the building and shed, power supply. Power supply of 100 kVA is readily available for them. Then water supply of connection with 25 mm and with a minimum flow of 10 cubic meters per day. Then treatment plants, effluent treatment, roads, and all the clearances that will be required for them to start the manufacturing process. So these are the basic elements. Apart from the gas connection also, depending upon availability and requirement, that also will be provided. So these are the basic elements that we have envisaged in the plug-and-play model. Now, this is basically going to be implemented by the Maharashtra Industrial Development Corporation. The the MIDC has recently, their board meeting has approved this scheme. And one point which I would like to highlight here is that in ease of doing business, this is reform number 47. So keeping that in mind, as well as the demand from the investors, because there has been a large demand from investors, this scheme has been formulated. Now we are at a stage where the board has approved the scheme, and very soon we'll be going into the implementation process, which involves assessing the demand and then subsequently developing as per their customized needs. Now, coming to the, as I explained you the broad contours of the scheme, now this slide shows you the locations where we are going to take up the plug and play model. Broadly, we have identified 8 industrial locations, industrial areas, which are projects. In these 8 industrial areas, we have got near about 6,000 acres of land. We will be taking up plug and play model to start with as an experiment in around 250 acres of land. And in this, so in all these 8 industrial areas, we'll be prioritizing 7 of them because it all depends on the demand also. Now, coming to the sectors that will be focusing, engineering, formulation, pharma formulations. Of course, we have proposed for bulk drug park, and in bulk drug park also, we'll be coming up with plug and play model. So apart from the formulations, we'll have the key starting materials, active ingredients, and etc. into the plug and play model. Then chemical manufacturing, food processing, gems and jewelry park, defense, aerospace, technical textiles, electronic systems design and manufacturing. These are the few sectors, and apart, of course, components, engineering components also is one of the important ingredient of plug and play model. So these are the broad sectors that we have identified. As you know, plug and play facilities would be specific to each of these sectors. The plug and play facility of one sector may not suit to another sector. So what we'll do is, we will first of all take intent of the industries to set up plug and play facilities. Depending upon the demand and the sectoral composition of this demand, will be taking up the construction activity in a way that it suits the industry. This slide basically shows the important components of the plug and play facility. So apart from the plug and play facility which is required for manufacturing, we will also be focusing on social infrastructure and medical care, as well as this kind of facilities. One more thing that I would like to mention here is that now our department is collaborating with the housing department with regards to the greenfield projects that are going to come up. Many times it so happens that industrial area comes up which is not in collaboration with the housing needs. So that's why haphazard growth takes place all along the periphery of the industrial area. Say, for instance, if it is a pharma or chemical facility, then that leads to there's a lot of issues at a subsequent date. So that's why now we have decided to collaborate with the housing department in greenfield industrial areas. So that's another thing which will be prominently a component of the implementation process. Now, coming to the specifics of the sheds and the prices thereof, the formula that we have set for this basically will be on a rental model. Here, the rent will be charged, the interest on the investment that goes into the shed construction, shed or building construction, 5% interest. This fixed capital investment includes cost of land plus shed. Then 5% as depreciation and 100% as maintenance charges. So this is the formula that we have set, and based on that, we'll be constructing the water facilities. The investor has 2 years rent in our facility. Investor can retain the shed after the pre-decided period of 10 years. Subsequent to that, if he wants to retain the shed, there is a clause for him to purchase that from the on a long-term lease of 95 years from the MIDC, which is as good as a purchase. So this provision also is there. That's how this rental model is worked out. And we have for as a type plan, we have identified 5 models depending upon the plot size and the built-up area. So here this slide shows the 5 sizes of the built-up areas. As I told you the earlier part of my presentation, that this is a flexible kind of thing. It is not a sort of a frozen kind of thing. As I told you, we'll be assessing the demand, and also in consultation with the industries. This will be subject to modifications as per the needs of the industry. Of course, it may not change drastically, but slight modifications will come up in this kind of shed construction details.
So we have discussed the design and details with the expert in the field of engineering, food processing, electronics, and pharma industries. And a webinar was arranged with the CI also to get the requirements from the individual industries so that this play and plug model shall be a great success. According to their requirements, we have proposed shades in 5 configurations. For small investors, we have provided 5,000 square feet of shade having plot size of 1125 square meters, which will be consuming FSI of 0.5. And for bigger investors, up to 25,000 square feet of shade size is proposed under the plug and play model. Their requirement was regarding the height of the shade, which should accommodate the EOT cranes, operations, etc. So we have considered shade height of 8 meters, and being the engineering uses, their demand was for good quality of flooring, and accordingly we have designed the flooring capacity 5 tons per square meter. For ease of loading and unloading, there is a requirement of 1.2 meters height, and accordingly we have provided that plinth height. Shade foundation is constructed in RCC, and we have provided a brick wall up to 3.3 meter height, and above 3.3 meters we are going in pre-engineering structures. This plot will be provided with compound wall and proper gate and roofing in polycarbonate sheets, well ventilated. There will be provision of mezzanine floor, which will be able to accommodate the offices, as well as same can be used for the operations also, as we have designed the flooring for 2 kilonewton per square meter live loads. Then, as per the requirement of the industries, the crane is also being provided in the shed for handling their goods. These structures will be fire compliant, as well as it will be according to the development control regulations of MIDC areas, and it will be equipped with security cabin and all electronic surveillance systems, water storage arrangements, and open spaces for their uses, and it will be well connected to the main roads with good quality roads, internal roads.
The slide shows the industrial area wise and the number of plug and play facilities that would be coming up as per their sizes. So this matrix is basically, as you can see here, there are 6 industrial areas in column 3. Column 2, you can see 6 industrial areas. The total area under plug and play facility to start with in the first phase, it would be 250 acres. And the next columns show the sizes of the sheds that will be coming up. And in all put together, we are planning for 450 plug and play facilities in the 6 industrial areas. Now, in this slide, the approximate rent which is going to be imposed on the plug and play facilities is shown. As you can see, let us start with the largest one, 2,500 square meters built up area shed. Here, it varies, of course, from industrial area to industrial area because the land costs are different at all these locations. So, from a minimum of 82.75 rupees per square meter per month to it goes up to 91.44 rupees. So, per square foot, it comes to near about 8.2 rupees to 9.2 rupees. So, which is quite reasonable. That's what our understanding is that this is quite reasonable. As the size becomes smaller, the cost goes up. Here in 500 square meter built up area, it comes to a minimum of say 127 rupees per square meter to 136 rupees per square meter. Here also, our assumption and understanding is that this is going to benefit the medium enterprises more for the reason that the capital costs become too much in certain cases where it goes up to land and building costs go up to 70% of the project cost. So this is supposed to work out very well for the medium and even some of the important small industries. So that's the understanding that we have at this stage. So these are the type plans that we have prepared. Just to get a flavor of what we are proposing. We are showing these visuals. So this is the inside area of the shed that we are proposing. Of course, these will be subject to modifications as per the specific demands that might come up from the various segments of the industry. Just I will briefly touch upon in a minute about other models that we have worked out. As DPIIT has been telling the states to come out with land allotment reforms also. As we understand that long-term lease is generally a very costly proposition, and many industries find it very burdensome. The land costs being so high, so that's why now we are going to come up with an installment model. This has been approved in the board meeting of the MIDC. In installment model, the capital cost of land, the long-term lease of 95 years, that can be paid in 5 years, whereas the existing mechanism is that in one go they have to pay. So in 5 years, 5 equal installments they can pay the amount. That is the installment model which we have worked out. As we gain experience, we might go for revisions in that at a later date. Then another very important thing which we have evolved is land rental model, where the rental model is for a duration of 10 years. And here the rent is almost like nominal. It is only 2.5% of the interest of the land cost, 2.5% interest per annum of the land cost. And the investor will have a right to retain the land after 10 years, provided he is ready to pay the land cost as per the rates that prevail at that point of time. And the only condition here is that he has to pay 2 years rent in advance as security deposit. So this is another thing which we have recently got approved. So that's what I have to say in the presentation. Then one more point which I would like to highlight here is that as the banks insist on having a long-term lease of the land, the industries now might have slight difficulty in obtaining the loans from the banks, the financial institutions. Now for that we need to negotiate with the financial institutions for coming out with the specific products for plug and play facilities as well as land rental models. I think very soon we can have a product developed for these purposes.